Hello, Meoni here, and welcome back to another video. The title of this video should be self-explanatory, but I wanted to address why people have alts. In a game pretty much where you don't necessarily need alts, where you basically can have every class and every job on just one character. Well, there's a few reasons that people have alts for this game, but the primary reason I think that most people will gravitate towards is so they can play with other friends. Let me explain. So the way that Final Fantasy XIV works is that you create a character on a server on a data center. So currently servers can be crossed, as in you can play with other people on your server with the majority of content if you are on the same data center, so those servers are connected to the same sort of major server, that data center basically. Essentially, if they're playing on another data center, for example, say for instance I play on Chaos, I play on Ragnarok, say for instance I want to play with people on the Light servers, right? I will not be able to do that because cross data center is not currently a feature that's enabled in the game. This is something that hopefully will be planned for the future, and there were rumors about this well, a couple of years ago actually. There's been on and off rumors and discussions about if cross data center play is actually feasible. Of course, that would mean that we would be moving closer to something more akin to a mega server, which you might be familiar with if you've ever played EVE Online, where basically there is just one server for everybody to connect to. So really the question is, why would people have alts other than that? So aside from being able to create a character and play with other people and, you know, actually visit their weddings and stuff like that on other servers, there are many other reasons you would have a character. And primarily one of the other reasons I have characters on other servers is to actually check the progression of different server-wide feats of, feats of achievements. Essentially, Tonbury server was the world first to complete the Ishgard restoration project. So I have a character there, primarily it's boosted primarily so that I could film that, but there's many other things that gravitate towards certain servers. For example, Balmung and a few other select servers are, registered in people's minds as RP servers, right? Foremost, there's obviously the ERP side of that, but for the most part, the roleplay community does gravitate towards Balmung in particular. So a lot of people have alts on that server specifically to roleplay, which is a really cool thing, where people can congregate and they can do what they need to do, but they also have their other character or other characters on servers where their friends are as well, who don't do roleplay. There's many people in my free company, for example, who have exactly that same situation where they create an alt on Balmung, they go and roleplay for a couple of hours, and then they come back to the non-roleplay experience that is our server. Where we're pretty much dealing with all that Chaos has to offer. So yeah, that's another reason you would have an alt. Ones where you have alts on the same server. Now, a lot of people have been asking me this directly because I have essentially, I've had 6 characters on this on Ragnarok before, all of them level 70 and above. These characters, well, there's currently 5 there at the moment. These characters all sort of give me a certain purpose uniquely. So firstly, they fulfill the need of having other characters to basically log on to, of different shapes and sizes, of different races and genders, specifically to show off glamour videos, for example. So a new outfit comes out on the Mog Station. A lot of the time I will log on to one of these characters and preview it on that particular race, especially if I can't get a hold of somebody that would ordinarily act for me, would stand there, or any of the fan base that aren't on at the time that I can get to actually stand there and wear the costume. Now, of course, if it is a Mog Station item, 90% of the time, that's not going to be something feasible financially for alts. So that's why a lot of the time I look elsewhere for that. If it's an item crafted in the game, that's a completely different matter, and usually I will use my alts myself. Another reason I use my alts across all data centers and characters is essentially just to do Fashion Report. So when Fashion Report comes around to judge every Friday, there's a period of theory crafting essentially in the morning that I take an active role in. I don't always post on the Reddit threads and stuff, but I try to work towards, you know, solving what's going to happen, be that the dye options. Usually it comes down to the dye options. It'll be a certain shade of gray, but, you know, like the Reddit community have worked out that it's not these 3 specific dyes because they worked out something else. So I will take it upon myself to try and work out what gray dye it might be by dyeing pieces of gear and testing it every single time, each with a character in the gold saucer, until it shows a more you know, a point increase based on that color change. That way we can turn, you know, the stone around and go, hey, look, it's actually Gobu Grey, for example, or whatever it might be, right? And that's how we do that. So alts take an integral role in me figuring out Fashion Report when I need to. They're an incredibly useful tool, but they're not essentially needed by everyone in the community. Another reason you might want an alt is essentially to see different parts of the storyline that are not currently available in New Game Plus. A friend of mine essentially has been doing New Game Plus. You know him, James. He's been on the Tea Time episodes before. He will go through the storyline in New Game Plus from where it currently starts, which is in Heavensward, all the way through. But currently there's no a Realm Reborn chapters for that. So what he would have to do, and what a lot of people have done, is created alternate characters to play through the entire storyline again. There are certain things that aren't included in New Game Plus. There are certain like little battle situations and stuff, and of course a Realm Reborn is not included in that at the moment. However, 5.3 onwards, I believe we will be eventually getting the new Game Plus chapters that do include the start of the actual game, you know, the base game itself, all the way through up until Heavensward. And then we've got Heavensward, we've got, you know, Stormblood, we've got Shadowbringers. It's shaping up well, but currently there is no way of playing through those particular cutscenes and storyline missions all the way through. You can go and sit in front of the Unending Journey and watch some of the cutscenes and some of the interaction from the start of the game onwards, but it feels very disjointed, and there really is the need to be able to play through that in New Game Plus. I think that's primarily the reason it exists in the first place. Anyway, I thought I'd share this because a lot of people ask this question: what would be the purpose of an alt? Well, the short answer is there probably isn't a reason for you to have an alt if you're asking that question. People who have alts have found a use for them, be it through the RP community, be it through, you know, anonymity, basically people having free retainers. Remember, you can have a couple of free retainers per character. So essentially you can sell more if you have alts. You just send that stuff to them. Although that involves you putting stuff into a FC bank and taking it out as that particular alt, because as far as I know, unless you use a little bit of a glitch, you can't send items to your own characters, right? You can't add yourself to your own friend list, so the mail option wouldn't work. You would need a third party, be that another player or a FC bank, to trade between. But that's another reason you have alts, is to store different items. Perhaps you're the sort of person who has gil but spends it too easily. An alt would serve best for that. Put it in an FC bank and then get the alt to take out of that FC bank and store it on their character, for example, or their retainer. Probably the safest way of doing it if you literally can't hold back from yourself. There's a lot of people that try to store gil on retainers that I know that end up, you know, just because of how convenient it is, just going in there, getting the gil and spending it, then regretting it. At least that way it distances you from your gil a little bit further, without obviously making it impossible to get. It just means that there's more effort required, more barriers, but your gil would be totally safe. But that's pretty much why you would have an alt. I can't think of many other reasons. If you can think of other reasons, feel free to post those in the comments section. It's a bit of a strange video. I just wanted to talk about it, but this is a topic that comes up all the time and I thought I'd address it, simply because people have asked for it. So if there's anything else like this you want answers to, feel free to let me know, and I'll see you all next time.